All right, do we want to get
Ready?
started?
Sure. Yeah, we're good to go.
Awesome. And you're good to go? Okay, cool. Thank you everybody for coming to the, to the Meet the Charity panel for CanFURence 2021. We're thrilled to have our returning charity, Courageous Companions. Terry and Shirley have been with us since 2018, I believe, and
Yep.
Rachel joined us in 2019 and didn't run screaming, so obviously she's enjoyed the atmosphere. They provide a valuable service by providing service dogs for veterans and first responders. And they're Canada-wide, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we're thrilled to have them back, and take it away.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone from Courageous Companions. Terry's actually one of our board members. Rachel is
Not a board member.
not a board member, but her dog is in our program, and I'm now actually the national tester for Courageous Companions, NSAR, and Canadian Association of Service Dog Trainers. So I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but the push is on now for a national standard. And the looks of things is going to be the MSAR standard is going to be what's going to be adopted by the Canadian Association of Service Dog Trainers.
Which we're excited about.
Yes. Courageous Companions is actually going for accreditation and will be the only accredited organization in all Canada when they finally get it completed. So I've been with Courageous Companions since 2013. So Snoopy is my service dog, and at the time, it was my boss who told me to turn her into a service dog, get her certified, and he'd worry about the paperwork. And the reason being is, in 2011, when I was in Afghanistan, I was working with UAVs. I was senior intelligence analyst, and it led to me developing post-traumatic stress. I call it an injury because prior to 2011, I was had an amazing life. Since that time, it's been a very difficult road because I am medication free. Mainly because when I first got diagnosed, I was sleeping approximately an hour and a half a night, and my doc suggested sleeping pills to help me sleep. I fought those. We tried Flexerol. I fought that. So we're like, okay, whatever we give you, you're just going to fight it. So there's no use. I'd have to be a zombie basically. So Snoopy, and overnight changed me. The day I got Snoopy, I actually snapped on my boss. He cracked a joke. I almost killed him. I finally told him 2 years later. That night I rescued Snoopy, or she rescued me. And the next day when I took her into work, my boss saw the difference in me, and that's where he told me I should get her certified and trained to be a service dog. And my response to him actually was, I'm not blind. So my knowledge of service dogs at that time was the same as most people. So he's the one who informed me that there was service dogs for post-traumatic stress. So I actually reached out across Canada, and basically I was told I'd either have to get rid of Snoopy or give them at least $20,000 to $40,000. MSAR at that time had started a new charity, Courageous Companions, and at that time it was only for military and veterans. And when he reached out to, George Leonard reached out to me, at that time I was like, yeah, I bet you're gonna tell me I'm gonna have to give you $20,000, you're gonna, and I had zero trust in the organization, any of them at that time. And he gave me the steps I needed to help train Snoopy, and 3 months later I went to Winnipeg for her to become a service dog in training. He was so impressed with what she did that he actually certified her. And he said to me, he says, no, I don't want your money. we're a charity, and the elders of the First Nations said, no, you're not allowed to pay for this. So they still oversee us, and when people get stupid, they say, you need to get rid of that person because they're getting stupid. And we've gone through a lot of growing pains in the time that I've been with Courageous Companions, and now we're in the positive. But we, unfortunately, we have to turn away so many people because the requirement now is not just for military veterans at first, it's for all of us. It's all of us in that world where Rachel, who's an old PP officer, will say is, it's dealing with people that you don't have to explain what caused your post-traumatic stress. And what makes our world unique is we're the ones who are running towards trouble, not running from trouble. So basically what most people say that join our program is, it's a relief not to have to explain myself. And there's no judgment. So the funny part is this, so the chairman of Courageous Companions is John Dugas. He's a engineer, former combat engineer. He actually was an instructor of combat divers. So John was actually the head diver for Swiss Air. He was in Yugoslavia, and he worked extensively with the RCMP in BC whenever they had required extractions of possible bodies. So John's post-traumatic stress is complex for obvious reasons, including, and this is how small the world it is. It turns out that the head RCMP for the morgue at Swiss Air is one of our members. So RCMP Inspector Steve Glode was in charge of the morgue at Swiss Air. When John found, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there were 2 babies on the Swiss Air flight. So John found the bag of the one baby, and Steve just happened to be the RCMP officer that processed it. So small world that they didn't even know that their paths had crossed. So I can honestly say I would be dead today if it wasn't for Snoopy. 2015, when the military denied me an extension of 6 months service so that I could process my post-traumatic stress with my service dog and with a specific social worker due to security reasons, I snapped. And I was actually on the way to the airport. I was going to put Snoopy on a flight, and I was going to go back to the base and take care of business and eliminate some people. And my social worker called me as I was on the way to the airport, and she talked me off the ledge. So how important are service dogs? She's the reason why I'm alive. She's the reason why I get out of bed every day. COVID has, for the first time since Courageous Companions started, affected us to the point where in the last 3 months, John has not received a single check from anybody to assist us. So basically what we've been doing is we've been doing owner trained, because all of us are volunteers. So this weekend, what you guys are doing, wow. When you guys asked for us back, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but there's a mirror I made for you guys for auction. So I hopefully you guys like it. I enjoyed making it. I'll let Rachel talk about her little journey.
Well, I mean, I want to thank you guys for inviting us back as well. This means a lot to us coming here and having you guys support us. It's these fur conventions and everybody in their fursuits with their different lives on display, that we get to see a side of people that, you know, is not generally available to the general public. We love that because it shows the quirkiness that you guys have. It shows the different side of you that, you know, is more intimate, and we get that. Our intimate side is a little more dangerous and scary, but we get that people have another side to them, and we really enjoy coming here because we feel like we can be ourselves around you guys. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here with you guys and to letting us into your lives. My story is a little bit different from Shirley's. I'm not a veteran from any of the military services. I'm a currently serving police officer. I work with the OPP. I've been part of the OPP for roughly 15 years. I've been a police officer for 12. And I was in a serious collision in 2011. It was a year and a half after I was hired. So it was very early in my career. And I thought I could deal with it. And unfortunately, it led to me spiraling down quite significantly low over the course of several years. And while I was getting treatment for my mental health, I met someone who had a service dog, and their service dog was from Courageous Companions. And seeing that dog in the room while I was being treated, even though it wasn't my dog, changed everything for me. And I knew that that was what I needed in order to survive. And so I started looking into how I could get one. And so I sent in an application to Courageous Companions, and on the other side of the phone, when I got that phone call, was Shirley. And she basically said,
You suck.
You suck. Having a service dog is not that easy. What makes you think you can have one? And she sounded like a harsh person, and it was like,
I am.
you are a harsh person, yeah. It was kind of like being in a job interview. But she tried to talk me out of it, and I get it now. At the time, it was very scary. But her whole purpose was to make sure that it was something that I really wanted and really needed. But once I got in, and once I got into the application process, I know. There was nothing but support. And as Shirley said, everybody volunteers to do this. She came from Alberta, where she lives. She came and met me in Ontario. She flew in just to meet me. And she met my puppy, who my mom had purchased for me because my mom couldn't wait. She couldn't wait for me to get the okay to get a service dog. She knew that it was life or death for me. So we went and found a dog that was appropriate for me, which is this little monster on the floor, who's not so little. And so I went and met Shirley with my dog Hetty, and it was supposed to be a meet and greet. It was supposed to be a test to see if she had the right temperament. And when I left after that weekend of working with her at Base Board, and my dog was given the lowest level of certification, but it allows her to start training as a service dog. It allows her to go into stores and start learning how to act appropriately as a service dog. So she was a service dog in training. And Shirley spent, I think it was actually 3 days that we spent together that time around, training my dog, teaching me how to train my dog, and making sure that she was going to work in the way I needed her to work for my issues. Because every dog is tailored to the owner, whether they're trained ahead of time by one of our trainers or whether it's a partially self-trained dog who then gets certified later. So we worked together for 2 years approximately, getting my dog trained up. There were some flights where Shirley came here to Ontario. I went to Alberta for a week, and we trained hard. And after that time, my dog was fully certified. I've had her ever since. She actually was given her full certification last time we were here in 2019.
Yep.
In the closing ceremonies,
Yes,
I think it was.
you got your
She got-
best presented to you.
That's
You
right.
didn't even know I had it on me.
I did not know. That was a complete shock for me. But it's the same journey for me. My dog has saved my life. there were some real dark times. Hi, baby. Our dogs are very sensitive. They recognize everything. Although mine is not reacting, it's more because
She
she's
gets
been on
to
the
be
train
here.
for the last 4 hours. Yeah, my dog saved my life, and I live for her. She is there for me every day, and she makes sure that I do what I need to do. She makes sure that I leave the house, which I wasn't doing. She makes sure that I get, I'll walk in twice a day so that I'm getting some exercise, because I wasn't doing that either. She makes sure that I clean up, because if I don't, she's going to eat my leftovers or tear apart the kitchen, because she's a monster, and I love that about her. But it makes sure that I do those things. She makes me do my chores. She makes me get out of the house. She makes me be active. And it has allowed me to also be a little more social. I was turning into a bit of a hermit. Talking to people was a real stress. Now we go out and people see us. They don't understand service dogs, so there's always questions. And so every day I'm training the public, she's training the public, and she's forcing me to talk to the public, which is always a challenge, but here I am. So I really can't say enough about my dog, or Snoopy, or Reddy at the back there. Our dogs, they're the reason why we live. They get us out of the house, and they work. And it's not to say that they are the only solution or the one solution that needs to exist in order for us to survive, but they certainly help and have gotten us to where we are. And I think if you were to speak to anybody who has a PTSD service dog, they would probably say the same thing. I can't imagine them saying anything different, to be honest. Unfortunately, they're not free. We do have a lot of partnerships with breeders and things, but we do occasionally have to pay for dogs if you need a hypoallergenic dog especially. We sometimes have to pay a little bit for those, and that's where your money goes. It goes towards making sure that the right dog is going to the right person who needs it, and making sure that that dog is getting the training they need. And it sounds silly that we're paying for airline fares, but we only have so many trainers and so many people who are certified to certify our dogs. So the money goes towards making sure that they get a flight out and a flight back again. It's not for fun parties or anything like that, not for meetings. We do Zoom and stuff, but it makes sure that we're getting the dogs to the people who need them most. Courageous Companions does focus on veterans and emergency service workers, but they do help other people as well, because we don't want to leave anybody in the dark.
So, yeah, so wherever we have trainers, so for instance, in Edmonton alone, I think there's something like 100 dogs in Edmonton, just in the Alberta region. So they're not all Courageous Companions, so people that are part of MSAR, they come out with us. And the biggest thing for them is they say, we feel safe. We feel safer in you guys. Well, then like nothing more safe than a bunch of crazy veterans, eh? Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for us is the commonality we have with you guys is this. It's about judgment. I know Snoops. So because I'm a female and I'm not combat arms, I'm constantly judged. And my dog is small, so I'm judged on that.
Yes, you are.
So I'm constantly told she's a fake. I've been in stores where people are yelling at me. I've had a guy sitting in a wheelchair. Him and his friend were all over Home Depot, coming back and yelling at me and calling us fakes, blah, 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 and just harassing us. My saving grace was, it was the Home Depot that is by where I live. And they know Snoopy, and they've seen her work. And they actually went over and they told the guy to leave. And his view was, well, I'm in a wheelchair, so how can you ask me to leave? Well, you're being a jerk. And on your way out, there's a bulletin board there, and there's an article about these two. So why don't you read that article, and you'll see why she has a service dog. So being military intelligence, I have a very secretive world. So for me to open up to anybody is the hardest thing. I don't like talking about my life. I don't like talking about my issues. Because I'm in the intelligence world, so you don't talk about stuff.
You don't trust people.
And you don't trust, you trust nobody. So it took almost 2 years for my social worker to gain my trust, that I would open up to her. So,
You got a question?
No, I'm just surprised by your story.
it's, you gotta remember, Snoopy and I have, we've had a lot of barriers. We were the ones that were on the news for Air Canada denying me, years ago. My grandmother, I got a phone call, my grandmother was terminal, and the medical desk guy wouldn't recognize Snoopy as a service dog. So I actually had a breakdown because he basically made me feel like a piece of dirt. And then the head of MSAR Courage Companions at the time was George Leonard, and he actually called the medical desk. And they're like, nah. So he put it on the MSAR Facebook page, and it went viral. And the vice president of Air Canada called him and said, please stop this. He says, I'm not doing anything. You guys are the ones who did it.
What?
You guys are the ones who denied her. And then my grandmother passed away during that, just in trying to get her I know. I know. Yeah, I know.
Does anybody else have any questions? I mean, we've gone on talking a lot here. We've told you a little bit about ourselves and our dogs, but any questions about how the dogs work or?
But you just saw what she did, eh? I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
So basically, she knows how much it upsets me to talk about even now. So what she does is she makes me pay attention to her, and then she gives me kisses. Now she's like, okay, you're good now, Mom. So it's the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
So this dog's actually pulled me out of places. And people are like, seriously? This dog, yeah, my fat ass got pulled out of places. Just to let you know where I was, in 2013, when I got Snoopy, I was probably approximately 200 pounds. So in Afghanistan, I was probably about 140. And I was in full fight Floyd. I was like, I was crazy. I was like, let's go to war. All I want to do is kill bad guys. And then I came home, and that was my moral injury. Is wanting to kill bad guys, to get back for every coalition allied innocent person that was killed because of the evil. And then I came home and I realized that I turned into a pretty evil person. So, thank you, Snoopy.
I mean, maybe we could speak a little bit to how some of the jobs that our dogs can be trained to do, because I know that's a question I get frequently when I'm out and about. What does she do? How does she know? How does she work? And I know I mentioned earlier that every dog is, trained a little differently, with the idea in mind to tailor it to the person. So,
Are there specific breeds that that Courageous Companions focuses on?
yes.
And it's not Snoopy.
This isn't it.
Yeah, Snoopy is definitely not one of the, she is
One of a
not one
kind.
of the chosen. Say again?
A one of a kind.
She's totally one of a kind. Doodles, not as much. Poodles, Goldens, Labs are the best dogs.
Yeah.
What they found with Doodles is they get to a certain age and they get scared and they get timid. And 50% of the Doodles started failing out of the program.
Not this one.
That
This one's
one?
good.
Well, that's because you kick her and beat her for 15 minutes every day. Like we all do. But Labs and Goldens and Poodles. So a lot of the hypo, the guys, people have allergies. The Poodles are great. The Labs and Goldens, very soft dogs. We actually are partnered with an Israeli dog school who does amazing mobility dogs. Amazing. So the reason why they're actually paired with us is they actually sent over somebody to kind of check us out. So they sent them into Edmonton because, of course, they're all Israeli Defense Force, those kind of guys, if you know what I mean. So they actually came out with us, and they didn't want to leave. And the sponsors are like, no, the Israeli Center, they're waiting for you. Yeah, but we're having fun with these guys. There's no judgment, there's no explanations, no nothing. We're just like a big family. And to them, that was such a relief. We didn't see them and go, oh, what do you got crutches? Oh, what the hell's wrong with you? They were like, do you know how rare that is? To not have to explain ourselves.
Acceptance is a big deal.
Yeah. Like you guys get judged all the time, don't you?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And that's an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah. All internet-based stuff.
Yeah, you guys get judged all the time. Makes you feel like crap, doesn't it?
A lot of the time.
Yeah. And you know what? Was it 2 years ago? The first year when Nancy was in charge.
Yeah.
At the fundraising. And I remember we were at this hot sauce thing, and I'm sitting way in the back. I'm like, I'm inconspicuous back here. I'm not doing good. I'm gonna sit back here quietly. Well, Nancy decided she had other plans for me. So she's like, oh, by the way, we have Courage Companions here.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh shit.
This is why you stuck me in the hot sauce event last
Yeah,
time.
that's why I stuck you in
Yes,
the hot sauce.
exactly.
That was my favorite.
It was
Yeah.
a conspiracy.
And so she's like, I'm like, okay, what the hell? So I went up there and I said to them, I said, you know what? I'm post-traumatic stress crazy. You guys are honing me into crazy. You really are, like totally. Like I know all kinds of
Good
levels
way.
of crazy. Just to let you know, my mom was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? She was. You know, schizophrenic, manic, blah 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 blah, all those different things, right? So I know all kinds of crazy. I totally do. I'm intelligence. I know all kinds of crazy. Bad crazy, good crazy, you name it, and everything in between. And I think the one thing that we all have in common is we don't want to be judged. We just want to be accepted for who we are. Not see me for my injury, not see me for my service dog, but see me as a person. And I think that's all of us want.
I think there's agreement in the group here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any funny stories of training, like a whole bunch of dogs in the same room kind of training? And because with the CI dog the training, they had like 10 dogs all in the same room, and that can be difficult to manage at times. Do you have the same kind of problems?
Well, I'd say the first conference we had in Edmonton, we had 20 service dogs in training
Wow.
In one room.
in one room. Okay,
No, was that the one I was at?
yeah.
Yeah.
But the worst part is this. So all our dogs will react to whoever's having a meltdown.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so you can imagine, so dogs are pushing each other out of the way to get to the person to help them.
Mhm.
So of course they all have to be leashed for that reason.
Wow.
My
Yeah.
dog, one of her ways of protecting me is she'll sit on my lap. She's 55 pounds, so she's not a small dog, but she'll sit on my lap, kind of facing me, and then she just sort of envelops me.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody else is having a meltdown, she does the same thing. She comes and immediately starts protecting me in case it's going to affect me, which can be a challenge.
And it's
But
not
yeah,
really
it's-
protecting, it's, she's doing her job.
She's doing her job. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that about her. Otherwise, I would have stopped her from doing it.
Yeah, so protecting, when we say protecting, it's not like she's gonna bite and attack somebody,
No.
okay?
No.
Protecting is, as in doing her
She's
job,
provide-
okay?
Yeah, emotional
Yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was funny. Who was it? Oh, so George had Benny, which is an autism, seizure, diabetes, blah, 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 blah. So his Aussie was off leash because George was sitting at the front like this.
Because he was training that other dog.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the guys at the back that had a dog in training, really early on, started having a difficult time. So Benny's like, picked it up and went running across the room. Any dogs in the way, he was pushing them out of the way to help this guy. Yeah. But the funny part is this. So we teach people how to help get their dogs to react. So for instance, we'll say, one of the things if you have want to know if a dog's even suitable, one of the things we'll say, well, cry. So pretend you're crying. So you go, "Ooh." So Snoopy's like, yeah, you're full of shit. That's not how you sound. And she will ignore me if I do a fake cry. She totally ignores me. She gives me, and in fact, she'll usually give me the look of, seriously?
Yeah, the dirty look.
Yeah. So,
Stop wasting my time.
yeah. But the funny part is if somebody else does the cry, she'll go over and help them too. But when it's me, she's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So those are the type of things we'll do, is to have them teach, to learn how, teach their dogs to react well to what they want. So if you want your, say for instance, I'm not a crier, as you can probably guess. But if I sniffle, she's there to make sure I'm not crying. She gives me space. I don't like people near me. I don't like people to start with, but I don't like people near me now. So she'll create that space. I've actually been in like a Tim Hortons lineup at the airport, and she'll be behind me, and all suddenly, to distract people, is she'll do a roll, because then everyone's looking at her, right? And I don't have to. Then it lowers my level.
When we're sitting in a restaurant, Snoopy will go to the closest corner and sit behind her so that she can watch and see what's going on to make sure that there's nothing she needs to help Shirley with while we're at the restaurant. She'll push other dogs out of the way to get there. Even
Yeah.
bigger dogs.
That's
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hetty, when we go walking in a mall, she knows to stay on my one side. Most of the dogs are trained to stay on one side anyhow. But I usually walk with a wall on my right side because I also don't like people getting too close. I'm far better at it now than I used to be. And she creates that barrier. And if there's someone in the way, she'll just push them out of the way. She's big enough that people can actually see her and feel her, so they don't tend to trip on her too bad. But it's just small things like that that when they're put all together create a big difference for us. Touch. Hetty's really, really soft. A lot of people need that soft feeling of touch. It's very calming for everybody in life. I'm sure that you guys, if you're nervous, you can pat your paw hands or something, or I'm sure you've had soft blankets in your life or stuffies or something. You see kids with stuffed toys, and it's often the texture and the feeling of being able to squish it that makes us feel better. Well, it's the same for my dog. She is a snuggler. We wake up in the morning, we have a snuggle. We go to bed at night, we have a snuggle. There are several snuggles throughout the day. I mean, you've already seen her come up on my lap.
Yeah.
We have to have that close contact. She needs it from me because I've taught her that she needs it, because I need it.
Yeah.
So she does it frequently. So it's things like that. Trying to think of other things that we teach.
Oh, night terrors. So prior to Snoopy, if it's dark and quiet, I think we're gonna get attacked. So in Afghanistan, basically anytime it's dark and quiet, that's when you always get rocket attacks. So when I first got her, it was the last time I had a night terror, so I think it was our first night. It was either our first or second night. I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought it was so dark and quiet. I jumped up and I checked my house in like 30 seconds. I had a 2-floor house, P&Q in Cold Lake at that time. I checked my house in 30 seconds and come back up to the room and I couldn't calm down. So Snoopy actually came across, laid on my right shoulder, which is my bad shoulder, wrapped her front paws around my arm. And I was able to fall asleep. That's the last night terror I've had. To not have a night terror since 2013, I don't know if you guys know what night terrors are like, but to say my heart rate was. So one of the things that makes me different from a lot of people that have post-traumatic stress is when I disassociate, my heart rate doesn't increase, my heart rate decreases. So we found that out through my therapy. I do intensive therapy here in Ottawa with my social worker. It's called EMDR. I don't know if you guys are aware of what it is. It's amazing. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So you can either, your hands, they have things and it vibrates, keeps your brain, left and right brain processing. So one of the things we discovered was through my Fitbit was when I disassociate, go back to Afghanistan, my heart rate actually drops, which is not a good thing.
You have to do everything differently.
I just had to.
You
So
just gotta make your own path in life.
Snoopy picks that up and she will actually break me out of my trance, whether it's jumping up at me, giving me kisses, making scratchy noises behind saying, hey, Mom.
Playing.
So notice how she's nice and calm right now. But if you notice both her ears, one's turned towards me and one's turned towards you guys, because she's always working.
Oh, yeah.
That's the cool stuff of our dogs.
Usually turn it off.
Yeah. Even if she was out of that, she'd still be the same way.
Yeah, I see some dogs that have their ears flopped over.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sort of little radar detectors. But yeah, these dogs are a lifesaver. I can honestly say that. She's the reason why I live. And the question was asked me because Snoopy's 10 now. Is am I going to replace her with another service dog? And the answer is no. That's not my plan. My plan is hopefully next year to go back to school. Yeah, I won't be. And if things, the stigma, okay, so I have stigma from the university, the head of social work I won't say the university, about me because I'm a soldier of post-traumatic stress, so she's scared I'm gonna go ramble, even though I'm doing distance learning. So she doesn't want me to go on to become a social worker. And she's actually accused my mental health facilitators of bullshitting me about my abilities to be a social worker. Yeah. So she was actually provoked me, hoping I would lose my cool and punch her in the face. But it's not worth the energy to do that, because that's just narrow-minded people. And she actually tried to insult me that those who can't teach. And I looked at her thinking, is that why you're a teacher and not a social worker? Because you suck?
Which gives your opinion does
Yeah.
not matter.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I totally get you guys and your stigma. I get the judgment. I get the way people look at you and you're like, oh my God. Right? I totally get that. Been down there, hey, Canadian-born Chinese Jew. Can't get any more unusual than that. Right? So, yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, the crazy
We
people.
really do love coming here.
Yeah. People ask me that, how do you do that? I said, they don't judge. It's kind of refreshing not to be judged by a total group of strangers. Right?
We were excited to come back again
Yeah.
this year. As
Well-
soon as you guys announced it, she sent me a text and she's like, the CanFURence is on this year, November, you coming?
And I surprised him with saying, hey, you want me to make a mirror?
Yeah.
He's like, what would you like? So I sent him a picture of one I made and it's like cheesy. Compassion, kindness, love, and hope. Right? I know it's kind of cheesy. Yeah, whatever. I'm not that cheesy kind. So he goes, how about stronger together? I'm like, I like that one. So I did that. And then I was like, I'm going to surprise him. And then I carved in your guys' logo on both sides. And then when I sent him the pictures, I know he was surprised.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
He was like, oh my God.
Mm.
And yeah. So yeah, it was my honor. I actually wish I'd had time to do a second one because I didn't know how good the first one was going to come.
Well, it's unique, with no question.
Yeah,
It is
and
amazing.
I've been trying to move to Ontario for the last couple of years, but thanks to COVID, everyone who's tried to get my house has not been able to. So if things finally work out and I can finally move here, I don't care what charity you guys use. I really, and I truly mean that. For as long as I can, I will always donate something for you guys as charities.
It's very generous.
For your, like, I wanted to make a coffee table. I made one for our gala, and it went for $350. So I was like,
Do you have time now?
well, I gotta get moved here, so I can, because it's actually quite big. So that's what I'd like to do, is continue to support you guys, whatever charity you guys choose every year. Because you guys have done so much for us, and it means so much that you guys have welcomed us as much as you have. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Snoopy.
Certainly, if you guys haven't, you have another question? Go ahead.
Yeah, what type of breed is Snoopy?
She is, I tell people, she's a purebred pug snarl terrier.
What?
Okay.
Well, people that are purebred snobs, it drives them crazy. They're like, well, what's that? And I said, well, purebred pug, purebred schnauzer, purebred terrier, I think Jack Russell.
She's a mixed breed.
Yeah,
She looks like Yoda.
Yeah.
that's her
Miniature.
AKA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her ears are very perky, just like Yoda's ears, and she has a face kind of like Yoda's. It's not quite as squished, but she's about the size of a football with legs. What? Are you offended?
She's like looking
She's
at
giving me
Rachel
that
like,
masculine.
seriously?
I'm taking offense at this statement.
She's beautiful.
She's my angel. Actually, you know what the crazy thing is? We actually used her to find out if someone's possibly a fake. Believe it or not.
Oh.
Well, Snoopy wants nothing to do with someone who does not have post-traumatic stress.
What?
So what we'll usually do if somebody wants to come out with us and says they want a service dog, well, I'll let her off leash, and if she wants nothing to do with them, we know that they don't have any post-traumatic. She literally will have nothing to do with them.
Wow.
Yeah, she doesn't care about them
Yes,
at all.
I'm not a fraud, eh?
But anybody else, she will throw them under. She throws me under the bus all the time with my support.
You should hear the
So-
comments she makes.
She tells my social worker, she tells my cuckoo doctor, she tells my massage therapist if I'm doing really crappy. And they will actually look and talk to her, and then I'll call her a jerk, and she'll turn and she'll look at me and go, and then she'll look at them and continue to tell them how bad I'm doing. Yeah, that's my dog. She's a jerk.
That's sweet.
She's a lovable jerk.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Any questions?
I think the thing that I found interesting, I didn't realize that they could be taught to distract other people. Like I knew about the other techniques, but I didn't know about that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty
She is really good at it. Because she knows that I don't want people staring at me, because then the paranoia of the intelligence side comes out. And she knows that. So what she does is she just totally relieves the whole.
And they can read a situation, so like, if Snoopy or Hetty notices that the stress level is rising and it's rising really quickly, and it's definitely not a situation that we should be in, they'll come up with an excuse for us to leave. Yeah, go to the bathroom, Mom. Let's go right now. And it sounds silly that a dog can tell you that they need to go to the bathroom, but they absolutely can.
They pee and poo on command too,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way.
And, yeah, they'll just tell you, okay, I gotta go, and give you that excuse to leave the room, which is super handy when you're in a situation that you don't like. How did you do this?
So they will actually pick it up before you even know
Oh, yeah.
that you're not in a good place. They will actually pick that up. It's kind of freaky how they do it. And you gotta remember, Snoopy's been with me for 8 years now, so, I mean, she's too much in tune with me sometimes, I think, because she's not scared to let me know what she thinks. But this dog has gone 24 hours without relieving herself,
Wow.
because I could not get out of bed. And I'd take her to the door to let her go, she would not until I actually physically got out of bed, got dressed, and took her outside. And I remember calling my social worker afterwards. And I one of the biggest things with my social worker who's posted here was I promised her I would always be honest with her. I would never lie. about anything. So she knows that if I don't answer something,
Oh.
it's because there's a reason.
Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah. Right, Snoopy?
Affecting your emotional? Yeah.
I love you too. So one of the things is, if you notice, is Snoopy stares right in my eyes. And it's kind of freaky because someone said to me, it said, it's like she's looking into your soul. I said, yeah, she has that way about her. And it's just really freaky.
Yeah. You're okay, I'm gonna go relax again.
And she'll look into your soul. She will look into your soul. And if you ever notice, like people, the biggest thing people say is, well, you look fine. How many times have you heard that when you're having a really crappy, well, you look fine. Oh, look, you're not missing limbs. And what I say to people is, if you really looked into this person's eyes and really looked, you will see what's in their soul. Because you can't hide that. You cannot hide what's deep inside. So how much has post-traumatic stress affected me? In 2006, I had no gray hair.
Oh, geez.
I had no gray hair in 2006.
I like this look for you,
Oh,
but
it does suit you.
Yeah.
It does suit you.
It's not normal for Asians to go.
Yeah.
I had more gray hair than my mother.
I think we've already established though that you don't follow the normal.
I don't follow the
way
norm.
of
No,
life.
I don't.
So really,
um,
is that
yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah, I had no gray hair in 2006. So one of the biggest, I think one of the hardest things for me is every year I lose people that I've worked with because of the stigma of post-traumatic stress. Because in the intelligence branch, I'm hoping it's slowly going to change, is that if you reach out for help, they kick you to the curb. I was called a traitor. My subordinates were told that they weren't allowed to speak to me because they called me a traitor for asking for help. I loved what I did. I truly did. I don't know if you guys have had the joy of having a job where you truly love what you did. But I had the most amazing job in the world. And after Afghanistan, I lost it all. I truly did in so many ways. And I wouldn't wish what I've seen and done on my worst enemy. I know evil in ways that nobody will. Thank God, people do not experience. I have seen the most evil people in the world and studied them for 10 years. So this dog has kept those demons at bay. I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years back, there's a gentleman who threw him and his wife off the 22nd floor.
Oh my goodness.
That was my former classmate. We were in Dubai together. Russell Williams was our camp commander. We talked to him every day for 7 months. So Rob and I, yeah. And I sit and I wonder every year at Remembrance Day, why am I still here? And why is Rob gone? Why is Michelle Mendez gone? She's the one who went back to Afghanistan, killed herself. And why am I still here and they're not? And I don't know why. Can't answer that one. But it breaks my heart every year. I hear intelligence members killing themselves. So I think the importance of this is that judgment part. That's the hard part. That's the hardest part, is reaching out for help. Because there's so much judgment out there. And whether it's you guys doing what you do and not being judged, or us having a little dog attached to us That's what's important. Because I imagine you guys struggle like we do. Right?
To hide yourself a lot.
Well, that's it. I mean, there's so many circumstances where it's like, if you're something outside of the norm, you know, it's like, what? I don't understand that, and so therefore I'm gonna label you with whatever weird thing I've heard online, or oh, you're fake, or oh, why would you be into that? Why would you do that?
Well, I met a lot of fakes when I was here in Ottawa. Because they were all talking about, Jesus, did you hear you can get like $10,000 for saying you have post-traumatic stress? And that's the reason why I didn't want to say I had it. Because I don't want to be labeled like them. I didn't want to be one of those guys. And honestly, I always thought I'd be strong enough to handle whatever. So when I got caught on my shit by my social worker, that was a hard thing for me. Because I always thought I'd be strong enough. So, yeah. Yeah, I know. Snoopy's
Hetty's
like-
wrapped herself around her feet, so
That
it's
explains
very
it.
helpful.
Yeah.
Is there anything further anyone wants to ask about? I mean, we're here all weekend, so you can ask us anytime. We're pretty open. That's part of why we like coming here, is we can be open.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a movie to recommend, Quill, from 2004, Quill. It's a Japanese movie of a visually impaired person who gets blind help from a guide dog. But it's both comedy and also very inspiring. Since the person who was a cane user and then suddenly gets introduced to Quill, a guide dog, and then at first he treated the dog as an actual dog, but then that changed. There's a funny scene where he would take 10 minutes to go from one part of the block to the other block, and then Quill took him over in 4 minutes instead of 10 minutes.
Nice.
And then that person felt, wow, you're really racing me. I can't go this fast.
It's sort of like Reddy today.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like life in Terry's, a day in the life of Terry.
Yeah.
Because,
So the reason why Terry's not up here, can you hear me, Terry?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is
she's gonna
Terry forgot his hearing aid, so he
Oh,
kind
no.
of hears stuff and he kind of doesn't. I think he intentionally did that. So he would not have to be up here and say, huh? What did they say?
Do you blame me?
Way to go, Terry. And it was convenient that you didn't realize that until we were down here, that you forgot your hearing aids. Yeah. Way to go, Terry. Jerk.
I thought it was just because, you know, the two beautiful ladies up there wanted the old man's network.
Oh, he's trying to scam.
it's working on me. You can keep telling me how beautiful I am. It's all good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check that movie out. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
you
sounds
will. Yeah,
very amusing.
I haven't found it.
Soup songs are always amusing.
Yeah, I have not found an English dub yet of the film, but there is subtitles.
Yeah, well, that's
Enjoy.
fine. I can read. I'll have to check that out. Yes, thank you. You're being very loving at the moment.
I'm also a volunteer side guide for 25 years now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Cool.
Terry, yes.
Yes, there's one thing you didn't mention, Shirley, and that's the Courageous Companions Service Dog Accessibility course that's on their website.
Oh,
Free
yes.
of charge to anyone who wants to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, yeah, thank you, Terry. I unfortunately don't remember everything. That's what you're here
That's
for.
not what you said last time.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, there's an accessibility course on the Courageous Companions website.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to pat you.
What do you think, I'm a dog now, you jerk? Anyways, yeah. And just to let you know how much times have changed, the new Air Canada training package they have for all their employees, Terry, Snoopy, were you on that one too?
No, not for Air
No,
Canada.
okay. So we're a part of their training program now. Yeah,
Did that include a free flight? Cause I'll do that next time.
yeah,
Where do I get to go?
2 free flights actually.
There and back.
That's how, yeah, there and back. That's how actually we're, so next year in the spring, the Invictus Games is back on at The Hague. So next year in the spring, Snoopy and I will be volunteering at the Invictus Games in The Hague. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm messing with your gear. Sorry. Oh my goodness. She's like, don't be touching my stuff.
Don't mess with
So
perfection.
she likes her bling. Yeah, so Snoopy and I will be at the Invictus Games next year at The Hague, volunteering, because I kind of said too many truthful things to some people in charge of the Canadian team, and you know, I'm not their favorite
She's
person
not
anymore.
outspoken at all.
So, yeah. So,
Well, is there anything else you
anything else? Any
feel the need to
questions?
mention? I
No.
know, thank you.
I think we're good.
You good? Good
Thank
to
you
go?
everybody for attending.
Yeah, thank you guys.
for
Thank
hosting
you.
the panel.
Yes, Snoopy. Yes, no, that's my mask, not yours. Okay. But we'll see you guys at tasting thing tonight?
Yeah, thank you. 8 p.m. tonight.
Oh,
There's a-
thank you.
Downstairs, but
You
I
need
will
that,
certainly
and
put it in. Thank you,
Canadian
thank
Fun
you.
Club.